Greetings, peace and blessings, everybody. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Greetings to everybody. Hope all is well. I am going to cam up for just a few minutes, but once I get off into my content, then y'all, it's hair wash day. So that's another reason I'm not going to stay on camera. I had to get my life together today and do some self care. And for some reason, it takes my hair forever to dry. So, and I don't like putting heat on it. So we just kind of let it do what it do today, y'all. Peace and blessings. We got Cutting Edge in the building. Hey, what's going on? Thank you so much. We appreciate you being a member for 6 months. Mr. Kimmy, good to see you again. Missed you. Peace and blessing. Hope all is well. It is. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for always supporting. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. We got DT in the building with the eyeballs as usual. It's a little trademark for YouTube. So, y'all, I appreciate everybody for coming through. Listen, we're not going to belabor. I know a lot of people live. I don't plan on being here all night long, but I did. Y'all, I don't know. I felt like I needed to talk about this, right? So for those that are coming in, if you don't mind just tapping the like button, I know it's been a while. For those that are catching the replay, absolutely type the like button if you don't mind. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. And with that, listen, take your screenshots, do what you got to do. This is real life over here, okay? And I'm going to go on and go off camera so we can get off into the content, right? So listen, y'all, to the beautiful people that's listening. I just want to talk about something that is happening quietly right up under our noses. So while we are being entertained, we are being distracted, we are being inundated with mundane news, things that don't have any relevance to us, that don't have any connection to our real lives and our real day-to-day activities. We have to understand something, that this artificial intelligence situation is not just online. It is actually starting to show up in our neighborhoods. It's disturbing to me, right? Now, I have used and for certain purposes used ChatGPT, but after like delving into this content and doing research and just realizing how it's really affecting people's real lives, it has really made me redirect and change my opinion and my route on how to utilize AI, right? And so the way that these huge data centers are being placed is really starting to reshape what was once peaceful communities, pushing people out here, disrupting the way folks live in their own homes. And for most of us, it is the largest investment that we make, many of us, right? It's our homes. I'm going to start off with a video that really there's two parts to it. They're both short clips, they're not long, but I did want to give a real life context to the topic before we kind of delve and kind of break things down. Again, I don't plan on being here too long, but while I'm here, I want to make the best use of my time and definitely give out some informative information. Let's go, y'all.
I can't live in my home with half of my home functioning and no water, and I can't drink the water.
Just 400 meters away from Beverly Morris's home in rural Georgia, Meta, Instagram and Facebook's parent company, has built a giant data center. A private well is Beverly's only source of water. But since construction began on the data center, the well water has turned murky. The sediment you see, that's from her taps. And she says it wasn't there before.
The water won't come through the water lines to fill the toilet tank, so I have to fill it with a bucket of water. It's plugged with sediment.
Beverly believes the construction is to blame, but Meta denies this.
No one should have to be afraid to drink their water. Not in this day, not in this age.
Meta says it commissioned an independent study that found its data center operation had not adversely affected groundwater conditions in the area. But Beverly just isn't convinced.
Meta is a 1 trillion dollar industry, and they're huge. To me, it's like David and Goliath.
Data centers like this are being built around the world, especially in Georgia, one of the fastest growing data center hubs in the US. They power AI tools like ChatGPT and require a lot of water to stay cool.
I can't live in my home with half of my home functioning.
So I just want to, okay, so I want to go into the second part of this, or the second video, where she is actually showing a demonstration and not just in a news clip of what her everyday life has become based off of a Meta AI data center that is 400 yards from her front door. Okay. Imagine that. You are speaking on noise pollution, you're speaking on changes in land value, you're speaking on increased utility prices that these corporations believe and feel entitled to pass along the cost to the residents, to the people in communities. They don't ask permission. You have to fight tooth and nail in order to even be aware that these data centers are being actually, created and built in their communities. But by the time these things are erupted or have been built, guess what? It's really kind of too late to do anything at that point, right? So another huge concern is water usage concerns. Now, this woman goes from being a property owner, being a resident where she has had running water, to the point where she now has to have bottled water because the water that has been provided to her has been polluted by what she believes to be the construction workers that erect these facilities. Y'all, if you look, I don't know if you got the time, but you want to stick around for this, because I'm gonna shift and you're not gonna believe the conditions and the things that are going on behind the scenes that we absolutely are not aware of, that we are not in tune with, and that is not broadcasted on the media in the light that it really should be when it comes to affecting real life people in their real life homes, in their real life situations. So let's go to the second part real quick. It's a short clip, but I'll let her explain her experience.
This is where I fill up water for storage. Those are the things we have to fill up to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just from the water coming out of your faucet.
Yeah. And this is what's in all the pipes. It's overwhelming because you really feel like you are up against this huge wall that you can't penetrate.
You don't feel like that. That is actually a great description on what's happening. These are trillion-dollar companies and corporations that have been forming and coagulating in the background, accumulating so much power, so much money, so many resources, buying the politicians, in my personal opinion, allegedly, right? Just really using their influence and their power to override and to take over land through many different ways. We can talk about that as well. My thing is that this can be you next. And this is something that you at least need to be cognizant and aware of. Outside of the water usage concerns, like she's speaking of, look at the noise pollution with the large truck traffic during constructions, while the company is saying that her water is not tainted by any actions of theirs, even though she evidently has been living in that house on the property for some time. And this has just started to occur since the facility has been built. And then you look at the trees and look at all of the nature. And we're going to go a little bit off into that to give some context through video on millionaires' homes being vacant, being absolutely, in my opinion, abandoned, whether they were bought out or not. Just really weird circumstances to accommodate and go allow these companies to go through the process of erecting these data centers.
Nothing that you can do, and they don't care.
I'm here in Mansfield, Georgia, driving by Meta's new 2 million square foot data center facility.
Did y'all hear that? 2 million square foot. The farmers they're not supported. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, they've been under attack for the past several years, also behind the scenes, organized to get them out of business, going through land grabs with these major corporations. And look at the price of property is through the roof. And now condos, high rises, townhomes, single floor apartments are becoming so rapidly built that, what's that saying, that one of the elite made the statement that you're going to own nothing and be happy with it or happy about it. They were not playing. That is their intent. But this data center covers what, according to the source, 2 million. Oh my goodness. That's not something I can really fathom. And again, imagine the noise. And this is 400 yards from her front door.
Facilities like this are being used to power things like ChatGPT and other AI tools that are becoming integrated into our daily life.
Data centers, going to be a very hot item.
This entire supercomputer is built to power Grok.
We see data centers as the most exciting asset class.
Meta is building a 2 gigawatt plus data center that is so large it would cover a significant part of Manhattan.
But data centers come with big costs. From light and noise pollution to the environmental impacts, to the potential rising costs of energy bills, these facilities put extraordinary demand on the power grid and require entirely new infrastructure.
Oh my God.
They should be responsible for that, not us.
Search the internet for profits that Meta has made, Amazon, Microsoft. They can afford to pay for their own generation.
Your house is here, and the data center's right there.
It's less than 400 yards.
Beverly and Jeff Morris bought their home an hour's drive from downtown Atlanta in 2016, but their roots in the community run much deeper.
Being in the country has always just been my peace and my therapy. When we found this place, we decided that this was it. It was perfect.
I was actually raised probably 5 miles from here. It felt like coming home.
The data center that's now the Morris' next door neighbor happens to be owned by Meta, the company you know for Facebook and Instagram, but has also been breaking into artificial intelligence. They started construction on this data center campus in 2018.
Definitely changed.
That was pre-COVID, by the way. Okay. So these data centers have been being erected all across the world, not just this country, for many years now. But now we're catching wind to it because it's on homegrown soil. And Virginia, and this is where this homeowner lives, okay, is the headquarters and the central area for data centers that supply and represent all of the data centers across not this country, but the world. Okay, hear me out when I tell you, Virginia on the docket. I wanted to respond to Vichy. Vichy, if I mispronounced your name, I apologize. Peace and blessings to the chat. We got the beautiful Miss Ann Perry in the building. We got, I thought I saw, okay, Cutting Edge. I think Salaya Ben Yaz in the building. I appreciate y'all for coming through. Thank you for the disclaimers. And what you were saying is that actually a lot of them receive tax-free. They don't have to pay taxes on a lot of these data centers, believe it or not. which is absolutely amazing to me, on top of passing the costs to the residents through water bills, through, like you stated, eminent domain, if they really want to get nasty with it. So usually what they do is they'll offer you a certain percentage over the listed price of the worth, the value of your property. And again, we're going to go off into how they're doing it, and critical thinkers can draw your own conclusions, but that we're going to shift into that. But definitely we're going to cover this too, as far as the value, the property taxes increasing once the commercial rezoning has taken place. You're dealing with air quality changes. It's ridiculous. Water pressure issues, water supply shifts, yet and still, again, the residents have to pay water bills. You got construction vibrations, you got them damaging wells, foundations, you got people losing equity when they sell their properties because buyers don't want to live near industrial zones. And they definitely don't want to live near data centers that have constant noise, change the temperature around your property based off of the generators that they use. It is just a really unhealthy situation, and it really just takes your quality of life away, if you ask me. We're almost done with this video, and then we're going to go ahead and transition into the second part of why I wanted to do this live stream that I found to be super interesting. They definitely do go up, and to the point where they ease them out. They go up so high they can't afford them, and then they have to move. So if you don't want to move voluntarily, they're going to either make it super expensive for you to stay, too expensive for you to stay, or they're going to make you so uncomfortable that you just throw your hands up and say, I'm done.
Everything. They destroyed the environment, taking down all the trees across the road.
Beautiful pines, beautiful forest.
The light pollution is...
We don't have to have a night light in the house. You can walk around the house at night.
So your property is lit up 24 hours a day. No darkness. You don't know when it's time to go to sleep and when it's time to, for the sun rise and then the sun sets. So all of that's irrelevant when you're living around a data center. And I want to know, did you vote on it? Did they bring it to you? Were they transparent? If they brought it to you at all, were they transparent about the conditions that it was going to create? Did they give it to you raw? Did they tell you the truth about how it was going to affect your quality, your very quality of life, how they were going to disregard everything that you state and that this country claims that you're entitled to?
Everything is that pride.
Now, I want to say this. The thing that I found crazy too about this was that companies buy up the land really cheap because the community didn't even know it was coming. Again, by the time the community is made aware of what is going on and transpired, it is too late. The data centers have been ejected. They're pretty much all of the zoning has been put in place. You have these community meetings at the courthouse, and where the residents come in and state their grievances, and they want transparency with the board of what is going on with the zoning in their community, how it's going to affect them, to what degree it is going to affect their quality of life. And these corporations, by large, in a lot of cases, in my personal opinion, don't care, and they're not concerned about you knowing anything, because it will do nothing but attempt to slow down and impede their progress in their ultimate goal, which is to erect these data centers. Now, there's some disturbing, for me anyway, disturbing. Let me find it. I got to find this video, y'all. I apologize. I thought I had it loaded up, but I don't. Hold on. Okay. And this next little clip will absolutely kind of display the dismissiveness of of when the community comes and asks questions and want answers and want some transparency and some line of communication, because their quality of life has been negatively affected to the point where they feel like nobody cares, nobody has heard them, and they're on their own. They are on their own. Let's go to the next little clip, y'all.
Put you where you are today. You want to talk about unity? Unify us. You have divided us. And it might not be your intention, and I'm sure it's not, but there is a transparency issue, and I think every one of you know it. It's unspoken, but you know what it is.
Our Constitution guards life, liberty, and property, but it's taking a beating right now. I know some of your grandkids, commissioners and fellow Cowadians, what legacy are we leaving them? We're trading rivers for tech that's junk before it's plugged in. What's your grandkids' inheritance? Taxed out towns, dry rivers, a dead grid? We won't see the wreckage until it's too late.
It's not just land that they gobble up, it's power and water as well. People's electric bills go up. Water can become polluted and scarce. They destroy quality of life. So why? Why in the name of all that's holy would anybody ever invite a data center into their community?
I would like to play a brief 20-second audio recording of ambient data center and AI data center noise.
Now, for fair use reasons, I definitely want to insert some commentary. And what he's getting ready to play is disturbing. Imagine listening to this noise 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there's nothing you can do about it. I have been trying to find this one clip where this homeowner, he spent over $20,000 in upgrades to his home in order to try to shield some of the negative effects of the sounds that reverberated through his home on the windows. He had special windows installed all around his home. He had padding put on the roof. There was different things that he definitely implemented to the tune, again, of over $20,000 in order to try to not, because he couldn't sell his home. Beautiful, beautiful home, by the way. It was fairly new. It's on a lot of acreage of land. Can't sell it because it's right next to a data center that has disrupted the entire rhythm and the ability to have quality of life in him and his family's lives. Another thing that happened too was that he has a daughter that has developed disabilities because of the negative effects of the noise. So again, this gentleman is getting ready to play the noise on his phone of how he hears it from his home 24 hours, 7 days a week.
That's ambient. That's a data center. And that's an AI data center.
That would drive me nuts. Ain't no way I could stay 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then that sounded like a screeching noise, kind of like, it reminds me of the outer space movies with the sound effects. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Well, it makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder, how is it that these sounds in 2025 sound so eerily similar to the sounds of Star Trek, of all of these other movies that were shown and given to us 50, 60, 70 years ago? Go figure. Let's continue.
Project sale, if approved, will use 6 to 9 million gallons of water per day.
6 to 9 millions with an M gallons of water per day, DAY. We got to buy bottled water. Water is a commodity, not just in this country, but in the world. They have already monetized it and made it a commodity of a resource that we have to pay for. And these data centers, who are they passing the costs off to? They're tax free. They're already passing the electricity bills, expenses, and costs off to the residents. They're inconveniencing and destroying the property values of these people's homes that they've worked so hard to get, maintain, and plan on probably leaving generations to come. Now you're probably upside down in equity and you can't sell it. So you're stuck. What does that do for quality of life without you having to lose everything and start fresh? But again, they're erupting at such an accelerated rate. When we talk about being quiet, these things have been being, put into place, and they're humongous, but they're doing it such an accelerated rate that people don't realize what the hell it is until it's already completed. But by that time, all of the laws have been passed to support them. All of the zoning has been passed. But how is it that the residents are in the dark about all of this, but they're the primary ones to be affected and have to pay when they weren't even asked? They didn't give you permission to contribute. Out in the country, a lot of them don't even have really good Wi-Fi, much less utilize AI. But then the ones that do have to pay, you get very little on a free version, but then you got to pay in order to get any type of real benefit from AI. So not only are we paying them and making them rich, but they're double dipping and taking the resources and the monies from the residents, along with destroying their quality of life. And I'm going to keep saying that because that's what it is. Let's continue.
Currently, all of Coweta uses 10.5 million gallons a day. Water is a finite resource. We can't make more. This is also true with the land, the forest, the wildlife, the wetlands, the air quality, the trust of your constituents.
Power suppliers are quietly passing along these data center costs down to the residents, and we don't accept this. Residents in Memphis, as an example, have had their rates increased in 2024, 2025, and just received notices of more increases next year. Now these residents have no recourse, no way out. Memphis residents didn't know, but we do know. Residents being billed more to cover the cost of trillion-dollar tax-exempt companies. We don't accept this.
You look at it across the country, the answer is simple. It's cheap for the developer. But it's costing us, and it's going to cost you. You're creating a legacy for yourselves now. I don't care if you're on this side of the room or that side of the room. The fact remains is that your decision carries weight for decades. It's going to rob this community. It's going to scar this community. And it's going to leave your family's names in the mud, unfortunately. And I don't want to see that happen.
So I have a question. It's rhetorical, and I'm going to offer some actual reasons, right? But my rhetorical question is, why is this happening so quietly? How is it going so far underneath the radar that by the time the community finds out about it, it's kind of too late? Now the fight it's going to have to intensify. And they're going to have, and they're up against a machine, pun intended, literally up against a machine. So there's three reasons I can think of. The first one, look at the speed of AI growth. They have to be built fast. They have to be, because of the way that they're doing it. They are not notifying and being transparent about what the requirements are to not just build these centers, but to sustain them, maintain them, to keep them going, and to keep building them at an accelerated rate across the world, not this country isolated. I'm speaking on the world. This is a world agenda. This is something that has been implemented. Again, we are asking, how is this happening so quietly that it's going up underneath the radar? The second reason is not going to be a very popular reason, but it's the truth, as it is said by KB, shout out to Kwame Brown, that the truth cannot be disrespectful. Local governments want the money. They want those tax dollars. It benefits the politicians. It benefits the corporations. The people that it does not benefit are the citizens that keep the machine going, that make it stronger, that fortify it to the point that now many wonder if it can even be fought. It has become so powerful, and largely, in my opinion, AI has facilitated that reinforcement in power. The third reason is that residents, as I have stated several times, usually hear about it too late. It's too late. So by the time the public hearing happens, the land has already been approved. Folks are already showing up to protest something that has been in motion. That can't happen just by one organization, one facet of government. This has to have a collective effort. This has to have some type of cohesiveness from certain organizations in power that can give the green light and supply whatever needs to be supplied in order for these things not to be just approved behind the scenes, but to be erected over 2 million acres of land under the radar. Now, I know this is going to be like apples and oranges, but I had to do this, y'all. I had to do this. This video came across my timeline and I was stuck. And then, of course, once I watched through it in its entirety, we're only going to go through certain timestamps, but I'm going to put the link to this video and this channel in my description after the live is over. And I truly implore you, if you can sit back and watch the BS and watch the beef and people that don't have any value or not giving you really anything outside of entertainment, no disrespect to anything outside of that, you can sit and watch this, because at the end of the day, this is something that the news and the media is not telling us, it's not informing us of, it's not being transparent. And if you don't get directly affected, trust me, at some point, and it's not going to take long, somebody that you love and somebody that you touch is going to be affected. And eventually, it may come to your front door sooner than later. So let me minimize myself here. And I'm going to start this from the beginning, and then we're going to go through a few timestamps. But the beginning of this is very powerful. I'm wondering if I want to give context. No, he does a very good job at explaining it for himself. So we're going to let him go ahead and do it. Shout out to the channel that and the young men that actually took the risk, the time, and the energy to find this information out. And not only that, but to bring it to the general public for those that seek it, find it. Let's go.
In June of 2024, families quietly packed their bags and left this wealthy neighborhood of mansions and high-end homes for good, leaving many homes in perfect condition, even with belongings inside. But I knew this was no coincidence. This is Lowdown County, Virginia, where this same exact event has been quietly playing out for years now. Entire neighborhoods out here are going abandoned, and this one is no exception. For an entire year, these homes averaging 10 acres and 5,000 square feet have sat abandoned. People just walked away from their million-dollar estates. But why?
Again, this is also in Virginia. I haven't done enough due diligence to figure out. I'm sure you follow the money, you'll find the answer. However, There is something about Virginia with these data centers. Some of the biggest ones are there. And these $1 million homes with open front doors, garages, and some of them fully furnished, where the families just vacated the premises, that's where they reside. Look at all of this land, y'all. Look at all of this land. Families were raised in these estates.
My first thought was industrial development, but this was not the case either. In fact, I couldn't find any public information at all. That wasn't until I found a home that was lived in. An old man answered the door. This was his bed and breakfast that he had no intention of abandoning. His father owned this land, living in this farmhouse built in the 1910s. In the 50s, he built this guest house. Then in the 80s, he subdivided the land, building single-family estates for families raising horses. He gifted his sons a street. The old man turned his home into a B&B. His brother built a home across the road and then built a second home to rent out. But that's all the information I got. The next day, he couldn't speak to me anymore. Someone had called him about my presence. But trust me, we're going to get to the bottom of this.
All of these homes that we're looking at are in the same community. So he said, like he said at the beginning, if you didn't hear it, or maybe he didn't say it yet, but I am saying that first he said it was 15 homes, now it's 30. But look at all of the acreage. So the average home has about 10 plus acres attached to the home. Majority, if not most of these homes have pools. A few of these homes have pool houses. Most of these homes have 3-car garages. All of these homes are multi upstairs, downstairs, multi-levels. $1 million estates, million dollar homes. Now I'm going to scroll through this. So if I miss certain talking points that he brings up, I will plug it in because I watched this more than once. And one of the things that he said is that he, at first, now at the time that this video was done, it took him I don't know, he said it was a 2-day video or 2-day series, but it took him a couple of weeks. And they walked through the back portion of all of these properties in order to stay out of sight, because of course, all of these properties were open, ready to be salvaged, ready to be knocked down, ready. There's a purpose for all of this land. Their developers don't give a damn about these homes, these properties, and you're going to see a couple of these properties are gorgeous on the inside, contemporary, got modern appliances, have been remodeled, and they just poof, just gone. Some of the homes were left fully furnished with clothes in it, with you can tell who lived there, groceries, laundry appliances. It's really weird. So let's go ahead and continue. I'm gonna just if I fast forward, just follow me here. If I can get somebody to put a 1 or a couple of people to put a 1 in the chat, if all the volumes and everything are good, because I don't want to get off into this, even though I should have did this at the beginning of the live. I just want to make sure everything's flowing and everybody can hear really well. Okay, thank you. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to those that are watching. Peace and blessings to everybody. And yeah, let's continue talking about these AI data centers.
This was my biggest video I filmed out on a whim. I noticed all these homes had sold at the exact same time. That was it. I came out here knowing nothing.
Oh my gosh, this is insane. Dude, these are literally like $1 million homes each. Oh my gosh. They're huge. Pools and everything. How is this real? This is actually one of the most unreal places I've ever seen. So the doors are open on these houses, just wide open. This is going to be very easy to film. The scale of this place, though, is insane already. I mean, I don't know how they could convince people with $1 million homes like this to just get up and leave. This might be one of the craziest videos of all time out here, at least in my opinion. It just keeps going too. There are
Look at that land, y'all. Look at that. That to me it describes a lot of humanity. That's what people live for. That's what people work for. That's what people die for. That's what people transcend and leave in legacies. And as you're going to be able to see, poof, this stuff is going to be, it's like it's meaningless at this point. And it really poses the question for me is, where are we in humanity that you can get an entire community of millionaires to just poof into thin air?
So many houses here. Oh, this is going to take 2 days to film for sure. This neighborhood is so large and so spread out that my drone can't even like get around. There's this really big mansion up here at the beginning. I think we're going to explore that first. Wow, it's got a pool and everything. Wow. Look at the size of this house, dude.
Dang, that's actually big.
Yeah. This is like one video, but we have 15 videos. Okay, I'm landing the drone. I'm so excited right now, dude. Oh my gosh.
Dude, there might be.
Okay, so let's fast forward to the first house.
It appears, but I think other houses, it's all random. They're all going to have different stuff left behind, or maybe not, if that makes sense. Kind of each homeowner will just like leave things behind, or they'll take everything. It all depends. Here's like the stairway, but just a wild sight. Let's see what's upstairs. So these would be like one of the bedrooms. Here's like one of the bathrooms. Not that interesting, actually. So I know absolutely nothing about why these are abandoned, but I'm almost 100% certain it's because of data centers. Look in the garage, it's empty. But yeah, I think this all was bought by a data center company, and it's going to be knocked down, which is just shocking. I mean, look at these, look at this. It's huge. Here's like the garage. There's nothing left. They salvaged these windows. It's not flooded, so this must have happened kind of recently. Oh, it's real moldy in here. Jeez, I mean, all the new materials, the paint, everything, almost smells like it's been on fire, strangely. But that's it. I mean, a huge house, but it's empty. I think despite how crazy this is, it's just exciting at the same time because I'm the first to check this out. I don't know what to expect in any of these homes. There could be some insane stuff left behind at some of these houses, not to mention just the apocalyptic views that we're about to see. So let's keep going.
What was the name of that movie? If y'all can type it in the chat, it eludes me. It's about a couple years old, and it was about the end of the times, and then this family got kind of stuck. These two families got stuck in a house together. There was a scene where all the Teslas were blocking the street so people couldn't drive in and out because the grid had gone down. That is what this reminds me of. The doors are open. There are some of the properties that have food in them, have, like I said, furniture, modern appliances, clothes, evidence to the point where you can tell families were raised in most of these estates, right? I want to go a little bit further up, and I thought there was something very interesting on one of these houses where he was speaking on that there was some pepper spray or some substance that burned his eyes. I don't want to go too far past it. Give me 1 second, y'all. Let's see. I don't know about the front door, but we'll go through a little bit of it because he goes through several homes. They all have their own unique characteristics, things that were left, stories to tell based off of the things that were left. But there's a few things that are absolutely in common, is that they're all vacant, they're all open, and nobody lives in any of these homes. Nobody. $1 million homes. We have a homeless epidemic that is absolutely out of control, particularly in a lot of the metropolitan cities. but not just isolated to those cities. And we've got thousands of acres just in one video, and nobody is nowhere to be found. There's food, even if it's outdated. There's food, there's plumbing, there's covering, there's places you can garden, you can grow food. And that's not what they want. That's not the intended purpose for what's going on. So, all right, let's go. Let me see if I can find. I don't want to make this too long, and I'm gonna put, like I said, I'm gonna put it. Oh, let's look at this pretty house. I'm gonna go back to the one where he felt like when he walked in, it was pepper spray. He couldn't see, it burned his eyes. We'll go back to that, but look at how beautiful this house is.
That's when the problems arise, and that's when people get kicked out. But yeah, this is really chill. Nobody is doing anything here. It's just us that know about this. So really easy to get around. I love that. Next to the neighborhood we were just in, we found a separate street connected to it. This neighborhood had 4 houses, one that was lived in by the old man. These 2 were the houses that his brother owned. One he lived in, and another he rented out. At the end of the street was a house that was separately owned, but probably my favorite house of them all. All right, guys, so there is actually a whole nother abandoned subdivision here. And right now we're looking at the first house. It's a little bit later, so like I went to go eat. I was so exhausted, but we're back now and the sun has come out. And look at this house. It's very unique compared to the other ones. Look at this place. Really curious on what it's going to be like inside. Wow. And look at that. The front door is just wide open.
Front door wide open. Front door is wide open to this beautiful, beautiful structure. Okay? All of them, according to him through this video, were open in multiple different entries of different properties. None of them were closed. He walked through them. Nobody was laying in it. Nobody was sleeping in it. Nobody was pilfering through it. Nobody was stealing from them. No, it's just, to me, it's the weirdest thing coming from an environment where people would savage. They would be fighting for territory. They would be claiming territory. And now you got this entire infrastructure of a community in Virginia. I'm going to keep saying Virginia. Virginia's the hot spot for the data centers. But look at how beautiful this home is. And when he goes in, you're going to see somebody, in my opinion, could make do by moving in right then and there with small adjustments and repairs. Shout out to the chat. Hey, T-Rail, good to see you. We got KB the God, KTB the God. Thank you for coming through. Salute to you. I appreciate y'all sliding through. We got GOXX in the building. We got Nemo. Thank y'all for letting me know that my audio was good. We got writers. My girl Rachel is in the building. To my mods, please drop links to your channels. Please go sub up. These people are my mods for a reason. They come and support. I do my best to support them when I can. You know, I appreciate all of y'all. Thank you. Please feel free to drop links. We got Captain Wolf in the building. Thank y'all for coming through. We appreciate y'all. But let's slide through and look at this house together and let your mind do the talking, because I'm telling you, I had to watch this more than once in order to process just the times that we are living in and how deep this rabbit hole goes when it comes to pushing this technology to the point where humanity is insignificant, if existent at all. And that's just my personal opinion on it and my personal take. And I think that I am somewhat qualified to make such an assessment and claim it as my opinion, given the decades that I've been living on this earth and the transitions that I have seen from childhood that God still has me living through right until this very moment. And I'm telling you, this is a totally different world that we are living in. Totally different than what I remember. I pray for our children all the time, every day, all day, and I do whatever my little body, mind, spirit can do, and my finances can do for our children. Because this world is F to the up, if you ask me. F to the up. And though God is in control at the end of the day, the picture that they paint is real powerful. The fear that they instill is real prevalent. Ain't nothing wrong with us escaping into our own vices from time to time. But if you are living in a time such as this, we have a responsibility. Like it or you don't. We cannot continue to walk oblivious to what's going on. Because when it's all said and done, the power is with the people no matter what we've been told. That is why they work so hard to keep us divided. If we're divided, we'll be infighting. We'll be going toe to toe with each other about shit that don't matter at the end of the day. Sorry, YouTube. I tried to go through this video without cussing, but I'm a cusser and it is what it is. Gotta edit out, gotta edit out. But life is much more real than a curse word here or there. So anyway, I can get, y'all know me, those that do, I can go left. So let me go ahead and push the play button. Let's look at this house.
This one could be quite interesting. Oh, wow. That is really cool. This one is, oh my gosh, this one's really cool. First off, a couple things over there, some furniture. But look at this. Beautiful 70s architecture. Beautiful architecture.
Look at the floor. Let me go back. Look at the floors. Hold on, y'all. Look at the floors in that. Look at the deck. Look at the view. Look at the windows. Look at the fireplace. I know I'm being petty and I'm really breaking it down, but we got to sometimes sit in it for a minute because they tearing all this down. None of this has any value to the tech companies. None of it does. You know what they value? They value water. They value electricity, which they claim there is not enough electricity to power the AI that they are trying to push worldwide. I got a video that explains that too, but I don't want to break the momentum of where we are right here.
What a house. Look at that. Here we have the kitchen. This might be my favorite house, at least architecture-wise. There's some expensive stuff they left here. They even got a little sunroom. Look at that. Wow. Oh, this property is insane. Look outside, yo. And they got like a barn over there. Maybe we could check out.
That's a whole nother structure for someone else to live in. Look at all that land that can be harvested with food, with livestock, with families, with children out there being taught how to do such things. Those things were stripped from many of our families and our legacies and our culture. Look at this. Can you imagine? So let me just say this. Picture this. Hold on, y'all. Let me go back. I'll get, there we go. Okay, hold on. Look at that. And then look at this. Because this is what this is going to turn into. What's going on? What's going on? And the people are paying for this through their water bills, through the electricity bills, through their property taxes, through the inability to sell their homes, because once this structure or something like it has erected and has been put up, now you're not going to be able to even sell this. So you know what the homeowner for this did? They bounced. They left. And I'm going to give you a spoiler. All of these properties that he is showing in this video, the developers came in and paid each homeowner $500,000, $500,000 over the value of the particular property that they owned. So guess what? One or two things was going to happen. And you know, their pitch was pristine. It was well thought out. I'm talking about the developers to the homeowners or to the property owners, right? They came in with guns ablazing saying one or two things is going to, or three things can happen. And I'm just speculating how the conversation would go. The first thing would be eminent domain. We'll find a way to take it from you for nothing. Move you out and send you on your way. Second thing is we can give you 500 grand over what is listed, because guess what? Once the data center starts being built, if we can't do it on your land, we'll do it next to your land. You're not going to be able to sell your house anyway. You're not going to be able to sell it. So we'll give you what it's worth plus 500 grand and you get the hell on. And then you sign this confidentiality agreement that you don't speak on this transaction and this arrangement that we have. And you start a new life somewhere else. Because these are $1 million estates, they were very smart. That's a lot of money to start fresh over, whether it's in this country, whether it's in another country, whether it's in a different part of the country, where the cost of living is cheaper than it is, because we know Virginia is one of the highest states to live in as far as what properties cost. And I don't know if I said the third thing. I know eminent domain, we can give you a little bit over what the property is worth. And I think I kind of touched on it by saying, or we'll just build around you and force you out with the noise. You can't even have running water. That beautiful big property with all of that greenery is going to probably die because we're going to take your water. We need 69 plus million gallons a day. And as that woman said, water is finite. There is not an endless supply of water. We in trouble at the end of the day. Wherever these data centers are erected and they choose to place them for whatever the reasons are, and that's going to come out too if it already hasn't started to come out. So you're not leaving the people a choice. But I want us to process the visual aspect, because this is real stuff going on here. This is what we're looking at. This is where we're headed. In many places. So if you walking around thinking that you are exempt just because you don't live in Virginia or you don't live in a rural area where there is plentiful land available for them to take in about, in abundance, if it don't touch you, it's going to touch somebody you know. Let's continue.
Wow. And there's little fish in there. I just saw one jump. That's so sad. This is gonna be destroyed. This is really unbelievable. It's a lot bigger than I thought it would be, honestly. There's the garage. Yeah, some stuff in there. You can see you got some of the older, some decay in there. You got some of the older patterns here on a house built around them. Oh yeah, you're looking at it. I wanted to get your reaction.
Look how functional this home is. Do you know how many people could be comfortable in these walls, thrive, prosper, make a house a home, make it a community, make it a tribal area? This is crazy to me, y'all. I don't know about it. Is it crazy to anybody else? This was such an eye-opener for me. It really put things in its proper perspective, especially with the things that I had been letting and allowing to occupy my mind and my space and my time. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to this channel for bringing this to fruition, for taking the risk and spending the time to give it to us the way that they experienced it or as close as they could get it to. This is wild. And they tore this house down along with all of the other ones and the ones he didn't show that were in the community in order to get the land. I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer, and I'm not here to be negative. But you know what this has shown me? I've heard it be said over and over again. You really don't own nothing in this life. You really don't own nothing. They sell you that bill of goods that you buy property. That's your property. You got to have air rights. You got to have land rights. There's a whole set of a process in order for you to actually own anything outside of the structure that it occupies, which is the land of the air. We don't own nothing. You pay these banks, whether you give them cash, however you accrue the property, you maintain it. You raise families in it. You pass it along. You try to make all of the good decisions to live the American dream just for these corporations to come in and say, by eminent domain, since you don't want to sell it and we can't run you out of here, we just going to take it from you. These millionaires collectively, either they talk with each other or they just understood the assignment at the end of the day, realized it was not going to be a fight they were going to win, in my opinion.
This one's really sick. Said it's empty. Yeah, the outside is awesome.
They did leave some furniture behind too, actually. Yeah, and then there's like a secondary staircase. Oh, it's a whole nother bedroom back here. This was actually not a bedroom, it's an office. And there's books here still left behind. Wow. Some furniture there. Oh, wow, and this is all their stuff. Respond.
I want you to pay attention closely to this little section right here that may seem insignificant for many. I want you to pay attention. And the only reason I say that is because I have my college degree. I have my high school diploma. All of the accolades and lifetime achievements that I have accrued over the years, I make sure I safeguard those and keep those. These people did not do the same.
Responsibility of Courage Award. We got their what is it? Their graduation stuff. A bunch of trophies as well. Oh, look at that. That was a kid who lived here. Yeah, so this must have been another family that lived here. That's all his stuff, and he just left it here. Kind of crazy. Look at that, a diploma. And it was just left here. It's weird. There's a whole lot of stuff over in here. There's even signed baseball. That's signed as well, whatever that is. Seriously shocking how all these places are just wide open like that. I mean, this street is just, you could just drive down here and everything. I did want to check out this barn down here as well. But from this house, we can tell we have like at least a high school student that lived here. Maybe even more people, but that was the only room that had stuff. I mean, look at it. Really big place here as well. Very scenic. We don't have very much in here. Oh, wow, they left this. There's a toolbox for a truck. That is pretty.
That has no value placed on it based off of the purpose that they want the land for. Things that don't have to go to waste, things that cost, in a lot of people's eyes, an exorbitant amount of money, or a certain amount of money that exceeds what they're able to afford. And these things are just laying around an unlocked property. You got squatters in the state of New York that you have to take to court for in apartments or homes that would occupy the space of one room in this estate. And it would take months, if not years, to get them out. But they find so much value in somebody else's stuff that they're willing to fight you for it, for your stuff. And then you have these properties here, these $1 million estates. A lot of them are furnished. They just need to be cleaned out. You have some of them that have modern day appliances, but all of them, people that are homeless will make a way out of no way. And this is what we looking at.
Expensive stuff, to be honest. So you guys think they had like a little truck shop here? Oh, there's so many wasps. Oh, guys, I keep forgetting the wasps are everywhere. So we're gonna continue on to the next spot. This one was actually built in '85. I think this whole street was originally meant for the guy's family who still lives in that bed and breakfast right here. This was my favorite home in the entire neighborhood. The houses were about to get better and better as they got more and more unique as we go on. Since the majority of the street was one family, the original landowners, I'm not sure if this was always a separately owned house or if the family owned it at one point. I mean, this is crazy, guys. It's like a free-for-all. Now, this house actually isn't abandoned. It's right at the end of the property line. But this side of the whole street is abandoned. We got another one here. This one, also a different design than the rest of the homes. I don't know if this neighborhood is directly built, connected to the other neighborhood that's back there. This was a rented home. Okay, no wasps. Whoa, this one's been sitting for a while.
Home just open. Doors just open. Just walk right on in. Yeah, blinds, it got land. They may not have no furniture, but you can put some furniture up in it. And the mold and all the other stuff ain't gonna really buy. Listen, I'll go left. I digress. So let me just go forward a little bit. I do want to hit this one house, and I don't want to give it away. Y'all bear with me here. It's worth me kind of going through the motions to try to find it. I think this is it. I think this is it.
Here, look. A lot bigger than I thought. It's got a huge addition to it. Yeah, look at that. This was added on way later. A whole tree has fallen on top of this home. Oh, it's a little bit scary. That is a massive tree. Oh, wow.
No, that's not it. Okay. Hold on.
You know, still active, but look at that. The front door just wide open here.
Another one.
Wow.
They got
This one's really cleared out.
chandeliers, ceiling fans, piano,
They do have a piano.
vacuum cleaners,
Fireplace over there. The kitchen here, though, is completely intact.
plant.
Even left some plants. There's a
They
safe.
got plants,
Looks like someone tried it. Oh, look at that.
safes.
I doubt
Oh
that
my
it has anything in it,
goodness.
though. Yeah. Got it. What do we have here? A bunch of seats.
Okay, real talk. Who would leave a safe? Who, even if you were leaving in a rush, in a hurry, who would leave a safe? Look at all these seeds. They obviously, whoever occupied this dwelling, saw value in seeds. They saw value and understood some survival techniques, understanding of living off of the land, being self-sufficient. Look at this, y'all.
Or something. Look at all that. What were these people doing? Airsoft canisters or paintball gun stuff. Maybe people were playing paintball here. I don't know. It's weird. It's been weird. It's like rations right there. Spaghetti and meat sauce. I wonder if these guys were preppers. There's a lot to this home, though. Oh, wow. Look at that. Must have been an older fellow that lived here. There's a lot. This must be an addition here, I think. Oh, interesting. That's about it here. I think over. Sorry about the lack of lighting towards.
If I can't find it, I'm not going to belabor the point. But there was a home where the FBI came and did their drills for the cadets. Because when he walked into the room or one of the rooms of the house, that pepper spray or those, I think this is it. Hold on, y'all. I think this is it.
Yeah, I wonder what happened here.
No, that ain't it. That's not it. Dog it. Oh, I know me. I don't know how to let go when it comes to trying to find something.
For some reason. Maybe they just did that for fun. But this is a nice, cool. I mean, all of these are. Look at that. They even got like a little playground back there.
Okay, I've made everybody suffer enough. Okay, so listen, we got these entire luxury neighborhoods left totally empty. We got furnished homes, unlocked doors, untouched belongings, no forced evictions, no signs nowhere, no warnings. We got families that just absolutely vacated the premises. They left all of their momentums, but the houses are preserved. And you know what I found to be eerie is that the streets are silent for miles. Okay, so let's call a duck a duck. This is not foreclosure. This is definitely not poverty. This is, in my opinion, a coordinated displacement. Coordinated displacement, quiet movement for land being repurposed. And the reason I say that is because I believe that there is a connection to the data centers. These areas provide very large parcels of land, a lot of acreage. They find no value in these estates, in these structures, in these homes. And you got low pushback from newly absent residents. Nobody's nowhere to be found. Where else would you find that people would just leave family heirlooms and momentums, furniture, property, estates, places and land that they have worked their entire lives for in many instances, just like that? You got zoning being flipped from residential to industrial. And then you got the big companies that just kind of swoop in and say, listen, when the wealthy start leaving, something bigger is on the horizon. The problem is, and we're going to get into some solutions or to some positivity to balance and counteract what their agenda is. Now, not only did it destabilize this community, it desecrated the community. Property values fell to the point where developers were able to come in, swoop it up on the low, even if they gave the homeowners an incentive to move on top of whatever their purchase price was or their current value of the estate or property was. It was enough for them to say, okay, yeah, well, I'm out. I ain't gonna talk about it. I ain't gonna come back. And I really ain't interested in taking nothing with me. These homes are sitting totally desecrated, empty, and ready for demolition. You got the cities that rezone. And then guess what? The very final aspect or part of the process is that the data centers move in, and not only do they move in quietly, but they move in swiftly. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. This is the quietest land shift in modern America I have been a witness to. And what they're hoping is really happening, and that most people won't see it until it reaches their street or it touches their family or themselves. Now, I don't ever do lives like this without offering some types of solutions. I'm not here to guarantee that anything is a surefire solution. All I can say is that with a voice, we can fight back. You can change what you acknowledge. You can shift what you acquiesce to and what you recognize. The first thing I want to say is that as a community, you have to come together. Whatever your community looks like, whether it's in the projects, whether it's in an apartment complex, whether it's in a jurisdiction of county, city, rural area, whether you may have an occupation or a job. Speaking of which, I want to play this.
In Virginia, the data center hotspot for the entire world. And the reason is that in the last century, data processing companies came here because their customers, government agencies in DC, were here. So they built data processing facilities. And then as the internet developed, there was a good fiber network here. There's a really strong, reliable, and relatively cheap power grid. So data centers can hook up to electricity, which is the juice they need. There's fewer natural disasters here, knock on wood, and lots of open land. There's also been some tax break laws passed to encourage data center development around here.
So I stand corrected. They're not tax-free, but they do get tax breaks. And that can be open-ended on either side. Okay? So they can word it as having tax breaks, but I'm sorry. To me, you're tax-free if you have been able to finagle the residents that did not get permission, that did not agree to absorb some of the costs, if not all of the costs of the data center. They didn't even listen. They didn't even have all they got was a bill. All they got was a bill to say, this is what you owe. And when the communities get together, I keep saying by the time they do and have been in history, it's kind of too late, which is why they have been successful and very strategic and good about passing things behind the scenes, not giving transparency to the communities. Because if they do that, they're going to get pushback. They're going to get a fight. It's going to draw it out. And it defeats the whole purpose of these data centers going up in the quiet and going up in the quiet swiftly. I am saying, too, that the residents of the community, on top of being on top and going to the council meetings, going to the county meetings, going to the courthouse gatherings in order to get an update of the zoning laws or proposals that are trying to be pushed through, people got to be up on that. And not only that, but there can't be one or two isolated people or spokespeople doing it. It is going to absolutely take a community. There has to be a demand for community impact assessments. When we speak of it, it has to be applicable to utility. It has to be applicable to water, noise, traffic, environmental effects like the noise, the air quality. You got to push for buffer zones. AI centers should not be sitting beside homes. They should not be sitting beside homes. Where is the guaranteed homeowner protections? You got all these HOAs rolling around here. They want the properties to look a certain way. They got all these restrictions. You got to pay every month in order for them to be enforced and to support the board that enforces them. But when it comes to these organizations and these corporations, they don't get tax caps. The residents don't get protected against noise insulation. And they are really F to the up on home value guarantees. I can't even sell my house. I can't even sell my house. I can't even sell my house. Why buy it if it doesn't accrue in value and equity? Where is the transparency of these corporations? That's because all of the politicians, in my personal opinion, are bought and paid for. You got public hearings that are mandated by law. They should be given before the construction starts, not afterwards. Now, my personal opinion, and I'm going to add this too, there should be a place for technology, and there should be a place for humanity. The line should not be so skewed that you can't tell AI from the real thing. They should not coagulate. They should not merge to the point where you can't identify what's human and what's artificial. It's called AI for a reason, and it stands for artificial intelligence. Isn't it funny how we just roll the AI off of our tongues? We don't even say, I remember when it was first introduced to me, I used to say the words artificial intelligence. And it used to, I was like, I'll say it, but I don't like the way it sounds. Now we just say AI. Now we just say AI. Now we just say Chat GPT. Now we just say Gemini. Now we just say whatever other major competitors are out there. And that's another factor too, y'all, is the fact that they are so in stark competition with each other for power, for dominion, and for data. They don't see the people. They don't care about the people. They're oblivious to the people. That's why the people are not included in their zonings, in their laws being passed, in their data centers being erected. None of that. So, with that being said, let me just go back to my chat for a minute because I've been in my bag. So, no disrespect to my chat, but we're going to go here now. Paul Thomas. Hey, Paul. Greetings, peace and blessings to you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you sliding through. You say, of course, they don't want conflict. They just want to keep us all down in private. This isn't just underprivileged communities. This deep state government wants to keep all of us down. I don't know when you came in, Paul, but I just did, where'd it go? Hold on. Big swole up. I just did an excerpt on this page on YouTube where they went into a few prestigious communities that were next to each other in Virginia, seeing as that is the data center mega of the world, not just of this country. And these are all multi-million dollar estates. So you're absolutely right in that. Absolutely. And I'll definitely go catch the replay or scroll back because your mind is going to be blown. At least mine was, right? At least mine was, because we're not talking about just certain groups of people. We are speaking on absolute residents, no matter what class, no matter what tax bracket, none of that. Because these corporations, according to what has been stated, they're given tax breaks, but they also have the support because they have the funding and they have the ability to pad the pockets of those, to keep it quiet, that are, I gotta kind of be careful, have access to the wording of the laws to push certain language and agendas through. Okay. Paul Thomas says, every time I call my HOA with a problem, sorry, can't help you. Every time I call my insurance company, sorry, we don't cover that. These organizations are designed to harm us, not help. Absolutely. I vowed I would never buy another home in an HOA, and I have not. I had a home, or I inherited a home in an HOA, and it was a nightmare for me. It was such a learning lesson, and I was so grateful to separate myself from being under the umbrella of that HOA. I am telling you, you're absolutely on point with that. And I totally agree. Totally agree. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're an hour and a half in. I know I've given a lot of information. I know that this is a lot to digest and chew on. But I just want to end on a positive note and an uplifting note, because one thing I don't do, I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior in my lineage, in my spirit, in my life. Sometimes I look weathered. Sometimes I look worn out, at least to me, right? And recently was one of those times. I took a picture of myself and I was like, ooh, girl, what is going on with you? But I needed that truth teller. And at the end of the day, I'm here for a particular reason. And I got to get back to what my purpose is. And with that being said, I want to say that I don't believe that technology is the enemy, but the way it's being placed and forced upon us can cost us not just our resources, but our peace, our communities. There's nothing wrong, in my opinion, with embracing innovation and protecting our humanity. And there's also nothing wrong with welcoming progress without sacrificing our homes. But what I do believe we should, at the bare minimum, require is transparency, is fairness, and a voice to be heard in what happens to not just us or our destinies or our neighborhoods, but us as a collective. I appreciate everybody for coming through. I appreciate those that stayed, those that are watching the replay. Definitely, everybody, if you can just tap the like button, help your old girl out. I'm going to be doing more content like this because this, to me, is my niche. This is where my interest lies. And this is where my gift is. Everybody can't handle stuff like this. I was made and built for it. And it is my responsibility to share what I know, like it, love it, leave it. I'm not responsible for how it's received. I'm just responsible for putting it out there. I appreciate everybody for coming through. And until next time, peace, everybody.